Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Tom and I will be presenting to you internal and external stakeholders in the unit 1.4 of IB Business Management. So just short overview of the table of content for this video. First, I will be talking about internal and external stakeholders. Then I'll be talking about the stakeholders' specific interests and then about stakeholder conflicts. So here you can see a table and basically, internal stakeholders are people that have a direct relationship with the company itself or with the organization. And that could mean that they work for this organization or that they are investors or that they own this company or organization. And then external stakeholders are the people or groups that do not directly work with the company or organization, but are still affected by the actions and outcomes of this business. And below you can see this table. As you can see, internal stakeholders, there are three in the IB and I believe also in real life. Employees, managers, and shareholders. That's pretty easy to remember. But then in the external stakeholders, there are a total of 7 that the IB includes. The first one is customers, then suppliers, pressure groups, local community, financiers, the government, and even the competitors. So to all the stakeholders' interests, employees. Um, Employees are, of course, the people that work for the company or the organization, and they are interested in the improvement of, they're, for example, interested in the improvement of terms and conditions of their employment. They want better contracts. Also, they want good working conditions. For example, they want a better office space. They want better food in the canteen. Everything can be related to interests of stakeholders. Also, they usually want opportunities for advancement of their careers. You could also link this to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where it says self-actualization on the top pyramid level. They also usually want good pay and they want job security. So if they see that their business is doing really good, they probably have a more secure job, which is what they'll like. The managers are usually interested in the maximization of the profit. They want big profit margins or at least the most profit as possible. Also, they want good customer relations so that they can better sell their products and have a nicer brand image, for example. They also like to have improvement of operational efficiency. This always, of course, links back to this maximization of profit. And then there's kind of this different levels, this different perspective of managers, like the employee, because they're still employees, right? That they also want better terms and conditions of their employment. They want better contracts. They want financial rewards. They also want bonuses and higher pay and fringe benefits. If you don't know what fringe benefits are anything that are any sort of pay that is not financial, if that makes sense. For example, a company car that the manager can drive around. And then the shareholders, the last internal stakeholder, and they are usually always looking for the higher return on their investment. They also want this profit maximization, which then leads to or a higher share price or higher dividends for themselves. And of course, the last point, more cost cutting, this also is directly related to this profit maximization. Then to the external stakeholders, we'll start with customers, and they usually want value for their money that they're paying for the product. And this also means, of course, better quality of the product. The better the product is, the more satisfied they are, obviously. So that's what they're interested in. Also, safe products and also products that are fit for the purpose that it's been created for. So they want that the product actually does what it is marketed as. Also, they want the price usually to be lower for the products, or basically that the prices at least reflect the quality of the goods and services that they receive. Usually, customers also like when the organization has some kind of customer care and after sales support. So customer care is more the relationship of customers and the people at the organization, usually when they're buying the product, how the client is treated, how the customer is treated. And after sales support is the support from the organization and the help from the organization even after they have actually made the sale. Suppliers are usually interested in that they have regular orders from the business, because they always want to, of course, keep selling their manufactured goods. They also want reasonable prices for their products, meaning that they want to sell their products at a reasonable price, or products or services. Um, that's a pretty big interest, because usually businesses are known to always talk about the or negotiate the prices of the products of the suppliers and try to negotiate it down. But they want reasonable prices for their efforts, and they usually like fast payment. If the business takes a lot of time to pay for the products that the supplier has made, they won't really like that, because the working capital is now bigger and takes longer for the supplier to get the cash. Next one is competitors. Competitors are obviously the rivals of the firms, usually in the same industry, that sell the same products, and they are of course interested in that the business is operating in a fair and honest way, because they do not want a business that has some kind of unfair advantage against them. Also, um, something that is really interesting and that is always good to keep in mind is that competitors usually set their strategies and targets and objectives even with the basis on the actions of competitors. You've definitely heard of benchmark, having a benchmark. Usually, you look at other people to set your own benchmark, and that's the same with competitors. They actually look at different businesses. They take interest in the actions of a different business and then see what their strategies will be. Next one is the local community, and they have quite a lot of interest in the business that's operating locally. For example, that they're socially responsible. Um, they really like it when also they create jobs and employment for the local people, the local economy, pretty much. Also, the support of local residents is also very well received. Uh, for example, in events also, and that can be achieved through sponsorships or donations. You can often see in high school football teams, for example, or soccer teams in Europe, you'll see local companies or organizations actually sponsoring these soccer teams in the youth. So they'll have their organization name on the jersey, but for that they will receive financial support from the organization, which will help the overall local community. And also another thing is, of course, the protection of the environment. The organization should not bring a lot of waste to the local communities, so that the people in the local community are negatively impacted. Pressure groups, that's another stakeholder, external stakeholder that is, and it really depends here on the group and the cause of the pressure group in this case, because there are tons of different pressure groups. But for example, what they will ask for and take interest in is the fair trade in the company, and also the human rights and environmental protection, and also that the company and organization is operating in a socially responsible and ethical way. The last two, I believe, stakeholders are financiers, and they of course want to know if the business is financially well. They want to know if they should give a source of finance to that business, if they should allow a source of finance to that business. And they also want to see if the business or organization is able to repay their debts and bank loans. And then, last but not least, the government. The government is, of course, interested in the legals, basically all all the laws and all the regulations are abided by the company, and of course they are also interested that they operate in a socially responsible way. So conflicts, the IB lists actually a lot of conflicts, stakeholder conflicts, and they really like to talk about it. You'll see that on paper exams. And I could have listed up here a lot of different stakeholder conflicts, but it's always different depending on the business. So what I will tell you now is that you should think of a way. There's a way to think about it. For example, what could be an interest of a stakeholder, of one stakeholder, that might go against an interest of another stakeholder? So just think about it. What what might the employee want as an interest, or what might he ask for, and what might the manager ask for, which are kind of opposite to each other, which go against each other. Obvious examples could be, for example, that the customer wants the price for the products to be lower, the price for the products or service, that is, to be lower, but shareholders of the company usually want to keep their margins. They usually want to keep the price as it is, or even increase it to keep the profit margin, or even better the profit margin, as shareholders are always looking to increase the profit margin. Also, as I already pointed out before, kind of, employees want higher wages, but managers, on the other hand, they want to keep costs low. So this is definitely something that you'll see a lot in especially smaller businesses, but also actually everywhere, that managers try to keep the wages as low as possible for the employees that are under them. And then another example is that pressure groups, for example, want more recycling and reduced waste from the organization, but this wish may upset shareholders and managers, because yet again, this is a high, it brings with it a high cost and a high implementation cost, which will lead to less smaller margins and less profit at the end, for any dividends or reinvestment in the company. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it helped you, and I'll see you in my next video.